So welcome to this meeting of the Standing Committee on Social Development today for Tuesday, March 2nd. Participants are abiding by social distancing guidelines and are participating remotely as well. I will now ask all members to introduce themselves for the record, starting to my left.
Ron Bonitrus, Decho. Rocky Simpson, MLA, Hay River South.
Lisa Semler, MLA, Nuvik Twin Lakes.
In the back of the room as well, we have MLA O'Reilly here with us today. We also have committee advisor Aaron Shea. We have committee clerk Jerry Burla, and we also have our law clerk Toby Kruger. I'd like to start off with review and adoption of the agenda. Mr. Clerk, will you take us through today's agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today we have a clause-by-clause review of Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burla. Are there any amendments that anybody would like to see made to today's agenda? Seeing none, can I have somebody approve today's agenda? MLA Simpson, thank you. And are there any declarations of conflict of interest today? Seeing none, let's proceed. Today, the Standing Committee on Social Development is holding a public clause-by-clause review of Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act. I will now invite the Honourable R.J. Simpson, Minister of Education, Culture and Employment, to introduce his staff for the record and proceed with any opening remarks he may have. Minister Simpson, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here today to continue the presentation of Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act. Today I'm joined by Rita Mueller, Deputy Minister, Education, Culture and Employment, Michael Saturnino, Assistant Deputy Minister, Labour and Income Security, Sam Shannon, Assistant Deputy Minister, Corporate Services, Haley Matheson, Manager of Employment Standards, Laura Jeffrey, Legislative Counsel, Department of Justice, and Ronna Sherigan, Ministerial Special Advisor, a couple of whom I believe are still in the waiting room, in the lobby, I should say. This bill seeks to amend the Employment Standards Act to include two provisions that will provide protection to NWT workers through emergency leave and flexibility to employers during the COVID-19 pandemic and any future emergency through amended group termination provisions. I wish to thank committee for its thoughtful review and collaboration in helping to strengthen this bill through a motion to amend, which I will be agreeing to today at the appropriate time. I am pleased to bring forward this bill that will both strengthen worker protection and provide flexibility for employers, and which are consistent with action taken by other jurisdictions in response to the pandemic. This concludes my opening remarks. I would be pleased to answer any questions that members may have regarding Bill 20. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Simpson. Do committee members have any questions or comments they wish to share with the Minister and his officials at this time? Seeing none, does the committee agree to proceed to a clause-by-clause review of Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act? Thank you very much, committee. The committee agrees to conduct a clause-by-clause review of Bill 20. Let's turn to page 1 of the bill, please. Clauses 1 to 5, page 1 of bill. Is committee agreed? Thank you, committee. Clause 6, on page 2 of the bill. Is committee agreed? Thank you, committee. Clause 7 to 10, page 6 of the bill. Is committee agreed? Clause 11, found on page 7 of the bill. Is committee agreed? MLA Semler?
I move that Bill 20 be amended. A, by deleting subclause 11.1 and B in subclause 11.3 by adding the following after the proposed subclause 41.5. The Employment Standards Officer by order waive the application of subsection 2 if the officer is satisfied of that. The employer is required to terminate the employment of the employees because of the an unforeseen event or circumstance beyond the control of the employer, including
The employment standards officer by order waive the application of subsection 2.
sorry, there's subsection 1, destruction of major breakdown of machinery or equipment. Subsection A2, climate or economic conditions. Subsection A3, a state of emergency declared under Section 14 of the Emergency Management Act or state of local emergency declared under Section 18 of that Act. 4, subsection A4, a state of public health emergency declared under Section 32 of the Public Health Act. 5, a direction or order of a public health officer, the chief public health officer, or a deputy chief public health officer provided or made under the Public Health Act. And 6, an emergency declared under Emergencies Act. B, the employer has exercised due diligence to foresee and avoid the cause of termination. And C, the cause of termination prevents the employer from respecting the period of notice required under subsection 2. 7, a decision or order made under subsection 6 must be made as soon as reasonably possible after the employment standards officer is satisfied that they have sufficient information to make a decision or order. 8, an order made under subsection 6 must require that the copies of the notice of termination referred to in subsection 1 be given by a date specified in the order, and B, may be made subject to any terms or conditions that the employment standards officer orders appropriate. 9, a copy of a decision or order made under subsection 6 must be served together with the reasons for ordering or not ordering the waiver on A, the employer to whom the decision or order relates, and B, any trade union of which the employee is to be terminated may be a member. 10, subsection 69(3) does not apply in any respect of an order made under subsection 6. 11, a trade union referral to in paragraph 9B is deemed to be a person affected by the decision or order for the purpose of commencing an appeal under subsection 71(1). 12, the employment standards officer shall, without delay, ensure that the notice of any decision or order made under subsection 6 is published on website maintained by the Government of the Northwest Territories relating to its employment standards office. 13, the notice published under subsection 12 must include the date on which the decision or order was made, the name of the employer to whom the decision or order relates, and C, the reason for ordering or not ordering the waiver. 14, the notice published under subsection 12 must not include the names of any employees to be terminated. 15, the employer shall, where possible and without delay, post a copy of the notice published under subsection 12 in a conspicuous place on the premises where work is performed by the employees to be terminated, and shall keep the notice posted for such period of time that as the employment standards officer specifies. 16, the employer shall without delay make reasonable efforts, A, where the notice was posted under subsection 15, to give a copy of the notice to any of the employees to be terminated who are not likely to see the notice when or shortly after it is posted, or it is not possible to post a notice under subsection 15 to give a copy of the notice to each of the employees to be terminated.
Thank you, MLA Semler. The motion is in order to the motion. Thank you. Committee question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion is carried. Does the minister concur with this amendment? Sorry, Minister, you were, we couldn't hear you.
Yes, I concur.
Thank you very much. We just wanted to make sure. So the minister concurs with the amendment. Thank you, Minister. Committee to clause 11 as amended. Does committee agree? Agreed. Clause 12, page 8 of the bill. Does committee agree? Agreed. Clauses 13 to 16 found on page 9 of the bill. Does committee agree? Agreed. Clause 17 found on page 10 of the bill. Is committee agreed? Agreed. Does the committee agree that Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act, is now ready for consideration as amended and reprinted in committee of the whole? MLA Simpson?
Move that Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act, be reported to the Assembly as ready for consideration in committee of the whole.
Motion is in order. Motion is on the floor to the motion. Thank you. Question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion is carried. Bill 20, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act, will be reported to the Assembly as ready for consideration in committee of the whole. Thank you, Minister Simpson, and to your staff as well. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you to everyone viewing this presentation, and would anybody like to adjourn this meeting of social development? Thank you very much, MLA Semler. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, committee, and it was nice working with you. We get to do it all again on the floor one more time. Thank you all, staff.
Thank you very much, Minister.